For me, the plan was simple. Follow orders and don't let Uri's dad die. Simple. The day we left, there was an aura surrounding the rest of the party that I couldn't put my finger on. It felt like we might not come back. Based on Hennevy's reaction, I don't think I was very good about hiding my recognition from the others.
Grabs you up in a big hug, and she says, "Please be careful. Please, come back."
Urimir made me a present. It is so lovely. It was such a kind gesture. It's a very large hat. It's called a hat of disguise, I think. He's a very talented artificer, and it was so very kind of him to think of others, considering what we were about to do.
Try it on.
Yes, okay. Put the big hat on. Is it, it's okay?
Yeah, he'll kind of adjust it for you. He'll help you adjust it a little bit.
I asked Hennevy to watch after Snonk while we were rescuing Uri's dad. She vowed she'd protect him with her life. Also, Snonk told me that he loved me. That's the first time he's ever said that. Of course I promised him I'd return tomorrow, and that I'd leave some books open for him to read. Gosh, he's the best. I love that piglet.
And I don't really want to bring Snonk with us, and I was wondering if maybe you could watch him while we're gone.
Before we left the hideout, I also made sure to take care of something else. Luden's been acting really weird around Hennevy lately, and I think he likes her. And because Luden is my friend, I wanted to help him out. I took it upon myself to ask her out on a date for him.
You did what?
After we're done here with everything. And it would be really cool. I mean, you don't have to, but it would be really cool if maybe you'd ask Luden to go with you when we go.
Well, yeah, after the mission, of course. And she agreed to go to the circus with you. Isn't that great, Luden?
Then I swear to God.
I think you mean thank you. You're welcome. I am so excited to go to the circus after all this.
Then we were off. I know I'm not saying much, but I couldn't know the plan. And all I knew was that everything needed to be simple.
I had to take matters into my own hands this time. We needed contingencies and a distraction. So I went to speak with the Shadow Man at the circus. We bought a whole spectacle of misdirection for just 125 gold.
You make a very intriguing proposition. But I must say, I would be remiss if I didn't extend a request of patronage.
We could only hope it would be enough. We talk of armies and odds, and 6 against all of Hush's numbers is hardly inspiring. But this is a bet we cannot lose.
We fought the likes of bandits, monsters, and the Seven. We won't lose today.
By the time we reached the secret entrance to Hush's lair, I was afraid. I was blind and had no idea what we were walking into. None of us did. But we kept on.
We came across the hidden entrance written on the map.
And you look, and you find this small, almost like golf ball-sized stone with a rune carved into it.
It's a symbol I recognized, one familiar to where I came from. A prayer to the old god Vera. When I spoke it, the rune glowed. The rock jumped from the wall, and the door opened. As the rock floated, it opened up a pathway for us to take, the tunnel closing behind us. Eventually, we were led to a pedestal with different colored rocks, a puzzle about old gods and humanity and the balance required between them. It was all very confusing, as puzzles usually are to me, but Samson barely glanced at it and knew the answer.
I've got it.
Dan, you done?
Already?
I think... I don't know if you're doing the same thing I am.
I think I'm done.
How are you so smart, Samson?
That's very kind of you to ask. But it's just years of experience, Finn. Years and years and years and years of experience.
From the moment we entered the hideout, all hell broke loose. I didn't need a plan to know that it was my job to get everyone in stealthily. With a little magic, and some eavesdropping, we came in more silent than ever. But it didn't take long before we were being approached from all sides.
As we
We're going to move towards the
Wait.
supply chamber, which is what we previously talked
Yes,
about.
because we can't go near the kitchens.
What did it change? Is anything closer to us now than it was before?
Okay. I don't think so. Right?
No.
Yep.
No, it's still the kitchens right now.
Okay. I push
think
Finn
Finn would let us know.
forward.
You push
I
Finn
push Finn
forward. As you
into
begin,
the supply.
you begin
into the supply chamber.
You begin pushing Finn towards the supply, and Finn, you immediately feel something coming from the supply, like a ping instead now.
I don't think we should go this way anymore.
Once I saw Micah and crew walking around on high alert, I knew we weren't sneaking out. And if you can't sneak out, I thought it'd be best to trap as many as we could in here, or at least separate them from us.
I can try something real quick. Another distraction.
No time! Come on, now! 3 minutes!
I'll go now.
Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to wait to use this, but it seemed like this was the best time. With the help of the dust of disappearance, we had 4 minutes of invisibility. 4 minutes to find Uri's dad. And we did. But we also found something else.
We slipped past the guards and into the workshop, which was more of a prison cell. Samson's brilliant distraction made getting through the hideout much easier. And that's when I saw Micah, or rather, who he had become.
Sitting on a chair, looking forward, turning a dagger to and fro in hand between his fingers, is a familiar face, but not as you remember. You all see this roguishly handsome Fire Genasi. His infectious smile is gone.
Michael, I'm not asking anymore.
This was not the Micah I knew.
My father has nothing to do with this.
Not my friend.
It's me you want, isn't it?
My brother.
Your father has everything to do with this.
No.
My mother didn't get to beg, did she? None of them got to beg.
That Micah may as well have died in the Undercity with the others.
Tell your sob story to all of them, to all the voices that have been silenced. Tell that to them, Uri. You're wrong. You made me this way.
Micah is a monster.
And they are gonna give me my goodbyes.
He talks only of pain, and he will not
I
listen.
told you. If I saw you again, I would kill you.
And before long, the fight has begun.
Make your choice, Urimir.
But he wasn't alone. Zevnik, the man in the red coat, came slinking out of the shadows. Seeing him brought me right back to the Undercity. Right back to the day I lost my father. And my arm. But I've got a new arm now. And it comes with a couple of tricks up its sleeve.
Mages everywhere. Ice, fire, destruction exploding all around us.
The mage's attacks completely destroyed Umber. I was able to absorb most of the flames, but the ice made it even more difficult to close the distance.
I killed a mage, but there were 2 more. I was hit with fire, then ice, then more fire.
Going to pull back his fangs and just bite into your dad and just rip out his jugular.
Micah said that I would know how it felt to lose everything. But I didn't think he'd actually do it. Through the smoke, I could only see my father lying on the ground, with Micah standing over him, holding a chunk of his throat. And he was smiling.
Uri's father was dying.
He was smiling when he drew another dagger and hurled it into my father's chest.
Micah is going to look down at your father, who is struggling to breathe. And he's going to take one of his knives, and he's just going to...
He was covered in blood, and from where I stood, I couldn't see if he was still breathing.
No, there's no way we were too late. I didn't come all this way just to watch my father be murdered.
There was no time to think. Uri asked me to get him out, and he made me promise.
The mage that Zevnik person was a piece of work of some kind. He tried first to scorch Urimir, and I am, relatively adept at cancelling this sort of thing, at saying, no, not today.
I hurled myself with Misty Step through the gears, up the steps. The sound around me faded, became distant, but when I reached Valerius, I hesitated. I looked at my friends, bleeding, ragged, tired. I knew I had to act fast. I knew it was time to use Dimension Door and get Uri's dad out of there, but I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go, but I had to. And it hurt so much to leave them behind.
So Finn's going to look back at his friends, and he's going to look hesitant and wait a moment, and then he's going to take Valerius's arm and he's going to Dimension Door as far as he can out of here.
By the time I had the pursuits of Hush cut off and our escape secured, I could hear the struggle in the other room. And I didn't hear lewd and cheering, so it couldn't have been going well. I thought I'd be too late to save her. Whoever.
Then, the entity, the seven inside me stirred, as if the sudden flood of emotions woke it up. I only remember feeling the darkness and grief overtake me. Everything went black, and all I could do was scream.
And he falls to his knees. And he just lets out just the loudest, blood-curdling scream that any of you has ever heard. And it starts to sound, he's not human, but it starts to sound inhuman. And you hear the creature. It starts to sound closer to the mother than it does to Urimir.
You all just hear this.
As Luden and Urimir struggle against Micah, I try to keep Zevnik out of it, but I cannot get close to him before Micah gets close to me. A bite like burning knives and sadness like sea waves makes it impossible to move away, and then Zevnik points to me, and all I see is green. And had it not been for our dear Esperis, it would have been the last thing I ever saw.
It was some badly evil necromancy thing that would have murdered our dear Prearia, and that too I said no to. Later he tries to banish Samson back to his home in the Feywild, and, well, no. I am not going to let anything like this happen.
Okay.
He's going to look at you and say,
"Ooh, what spirit you have."
I knew it! This BS. Garbage.
You know, I really do wonder what it's like to be on the other side sometimes. Won't you tell me?
He's going to point at you, and you'll see this crackle of green energy.
Oh, it's not that.
Oh no, he's fucking not.
No!
Counterspell. I'm counterspelling.
Out in the supply room, I tried desperately to help Valerius. I could feel the life in him slowly leaking away, even as I pressed my cloak against his wounds to stop the bleeding. How was I going to tell Uri that I got his dad out of there but not alive?
I do not mean to brag at all, but I do not believe that Zevnik successfully cast a single spell in that fight. I was also invisible the entire time. I am not trying to be conceited. I am so sorry.
Finn was gone. Micah screamed, and then I heard it all. Logan's voice. Who the hell is this guy?
And he's going to just... His eyes are going to start flaming red once more like hot coals. And he's going to look at Prearia, and he's going to look at Zevnik, and he's going to just scream at the top of his lungs, and he's going to shout, "You're gonna feel my pain! You're gonna know what it's like to suffer! You're gonna know what it's like to lose someone!"
I managed to get to Samson and defibrillate him back to life while providing some cover fire. Even as the crossbow bolts hit, Micah hardly seemed to notice.
Hits.
And I am going to use one of my artificer abilities called Arcane Jolt. Once per turn, when I hit a target with a magic weapon attack, or my steel defender hits a target, which, he's dead right now, I can choose to either deliver an extra 2d6 force damage or restore 2d6 hit points to a creature or object within 30 feet of the target. So I'm going to heal Samson for 2d6.
Things seem dark indeed, and our party is still divided.
But I have more tricks up my sleeves than I used to.
And then I use my action to turn into King Kong.
I was almost down. and I'm still bleeding profusely.
Micah hurt him so badly, I don't know if my training and surgery could have helped. But just as I was running out of hope, Uri's dad, he opened his eyes with a gasping breath.
Father rolled a natural 20.
Let's go!
Despite Micah's violence and abuse, despite the odds stacked against him, he came back.
And Samson, he's not exactly like what I thought he was. It speaks highly to his character that he was willing to stand his ground here for the party, for his friends.
Samson saved me.
Okay, I'll go attack Ludin.
He's just gonna move through my space?
I mean, you're like you're right here.
I'm like right here.
When I managed to make my way over to him and take him by the flank, the gorilla leg, he got us both out of there.
I'm going to drop polymorph. I'm going to grab Esperise. And I'm going to
put you right here.
And I'm going to dimension door with Esperise and I back to the baths.
He got all of us out of there. And we're fortunate that this time, he thought to get himself out too.
Uri's lost so much. I hate that he lost his best friend today. There's no going back now. We've made an enemy of him and the Demise family. I'm worried. I've got lots of dangerous friends, but not many enemies.
We're running. It was supposed to be simple. What the hell was that?
Running, Finn, you see Urimir running, well actually you don't see Urimir running towards you, as he goes invisible. I guess you would see him go invisible, and he's running towards you. You see Micah just coals, like he looks like black, he looks like a, Ghost Rider with just flames just kind of coming out of his eyes, and like his hair.
Everything is alright. We are all whole, and we are looking after one another.
Without Ludin, we never would have made it inside undetected. Without Finn, my father would be dead. Without Samson, we never would have made it out alive. Without Esperise, Zevnik may have cast a spell and who knows what would have happened. Without Praeria, Micah surely would have killed us all along with my father. You know, there were times when I thought I'd never have a family again. But it seems I found a new family. And I'm going to do everything in my power to protect them.
You forget. You forget that I know what you're afraid of. You forget that I know your weaknesses. You forget that I have spent every waking moment by your side, and I know everything about you. I know the kind of steps you'll take. I know the kind of places you'll go. You can't hide from me. I'm gonna find each and every single one of you, and I'm gonna make you suffer far beyond what you can imagine. I'm gonna make you feel the same way that I felt that day when you silenced everyone we loved, all of our family. The way that I still feel now. I have all the time in the world, but you don't.